Luxurious Heat Nation. Yeah. Mercy Lago. Down to Biscayne.
Yikes. 5 on the floor. Ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing. You can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars. Wearing bubble frogs.
Down to Biscayne.
Kept the floor playing. Got it all banned. Y'all seen the block. Stop with one hand. And Pat we trust. It's about have the guts. We're here to bring the heat. Y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome to another edition of 5 on the Floor. I begrudgingly come to you after, I may say it's the worst effing loss of the whole damn year. The Miami Heat lose to the Charlotte Hornets 105-102. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Tonight's floor plan with me, Major Passons. We are two of probably the most positive Miami Heat fans that could ever be put on one show at the same time. We typically look for the good in whatever the hell's going on with the Miami Heat. The Heat have lost 5 of 6. They've lost to teams that are actively tanking in the Chicago Bulls. Now the Charlotte Hornets, who put Malachi Flynn in late in the game. Like, this guy is on a 2-way deal. These are teams. The Hornets came into this game with 14 wins on the season, and they beat the Miami Heat. They come from behind, although it was close for a lot of the game, but ultimately they came from behind. 105-102 is the final score here. I hate to do this to you, Major, but what the hell are your thoughts on this before we get to our segments? Because for me, I'm at a point where I'm kind of at a loss for words. This has to be mental, and I don't see how they turn it around. I don't think there's enough games to turn it around, and I think that it's in their head to a degree, like this down the stretch, like everybody. Bam airballed a wide open 3. Tyler made mental mistakes down the stretch. They didn't defend well enough. Where the hell do we go from here?
I don't know, man. I'm literally speechless. Like, I don't know what to say at this point. Like, even if you want to be a box score watcher, it doesn't make sense how they lost. Like, their 3 best players had, honestly, like, decent games. Like, their stats look a little bit better than probably how it was if you want to reference the whole game. I thought Bam was the player that was consistently good the whole game. Right, Tyler had his moments. Wiggins had his moments, specifically the first quarter. Duncan, 3 of 7 from 3, 14 points. And then you hold LaMelo to 5 of 21. And yeah, Bridges was just getting whatever he wanted. The point of attack defense and the first layer of defense was horrendous. It was pathetic, like just flat out. They had a couple nice steals, but especially in the fourth quarter when it mattered, they couldn't get a stop. They were getting blown by. It's just pathetic. I don't know what else to say. There's nothing else you could do. You win the rebounding margin by 10, and you still somehow blow a 17-point lead. 17-point lead was early, so I hate it when people say that. It's the NBA. But they blew a lead in the fourth quarter. Again, like a multiple possession lead against a Charlotte team that is horrendous. And you just found a way. And I know people are going to say I'm a Spo apologist for this, and people are saying Spo is washed for this game. I legitimately don't know what he's supposed to do. Everyone just crapped the bed. No matter who we threw out there. Ware played in the fourth quarter, didn't go well, right?
He was terrible tonight, by the way.
Yeah, Terry, 1 of 5. 4 points, 6 rebounds, but he honestly had some moments where he was the most active player on the team for a little bit, a couple possessions back and forth. I just literally don't know what was supposed to happen this game is like my brain does not understand it.
To your point, I mean, Bam, 23, 14, 8 assists and only 1 turnover in 38 minutes. Like, yeah, at face value, I'm taking that from Bam. Tyler, 21 points, 9 of 17. Wiggins, 19 points, 8 of 17, 7 rebounds. He was fine. Like we mentioned, Ware had an off night. Davion Mitchell. I mean, often that it just wasn't highly productive. This is what, to your point, they out-rebounded them by 10. They still got outscored in the fourth quarter by 7, outscored in the third quarter by 2, slowly getting chipped away at by just an inferior team, a team that is incentivized to lose games. 14 wins. Now this is their 15th win of the season. Like, it's just not supposed to go this way. I don't know how the Heat dig themselves out of it. We're going to talk through these segments, get to the players of the game, get through all of the plays of the night and things of that nature. But we can't sugarcoat it. Like, this is an embarrassing stretch of Heat basketball. They've lost 5 of 6, and especially, and yes, I'm going to turn the knife as we're getting stabbed. When you see Golden State and Jimmy playing as well as they are, I mean, there's a correlation there for me as a fan, seeing how one situation is playing out versus the other. That's difficult. Let's get to our first segment, the player of the night.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the Heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess we got to give it to Miles Bridges, one of my least favorite players in the league. 12 and 19, 35 points. Mark Williams can't pass a physical for the Lakers, but can drop 24 and 10 on the Heat. Think that's interesting as well. And LaMelo, who you mentioned earlier, 5 of 21. Like, not only do they out-rebound them, LaMelo has an off shooting night, 5 of 21, but he did end up with 10 assists finally, 2 of 12 from 3. Ultimately, your point about point of attack defense, Miles Bridges got whatever he wanted. He was getting to his left when he wanted, and then late in the game, he even went right. Like, he got that comfortable and that confident. And just to see the Heat, you could see it happening. Like, as they were chipping away, you could see the Heat start to freeze up and things just looked a little bit more robotic. And like, you just didn't see the fluid motion. And it's like they started getting in their heads. And I don't know how you claw yourself out of that. Like, this is going to take a collective effort upon the coaching staff, but it's beyond just like the coaches giving speeches or watching film. This transcends all that. Like, now you're at a point where these guys are thinking, shit, here we go again. And they're going to need to, and I thought tonight would be like a streak buster type night. That was what I was going for, Major, is that like, I thought the Hornets come in, easy win, you feel good, and you go into the next game and see if you can start to turn stuff around. Instead, they completely bleep the bed. It's a total mess. Let's get to the next segment, Mobile C-Arm and Staffing X-Ray, the play of the night.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you if you work in a hospital or a medical office. Get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
So which one was most embarrassing? Let's just keep rubbing salt on the wound here. Like, was the Bam like everybody says I'm the big no ceiling apologist. He airballed what would have been a game tying shot at the top of the key. It looked like he didn't put enough legs into it. Like he just maybe was gassed a little bit, but there's no excuses. Like you have to put up a better attempt than just a completely blatant airball. So like that shot sticks out to me as kind of a microcosm of like how and Major, I'm queuing you up here. You tweeted something that I thought was really relevant to like how tonight went. Why don't you tell for the audience that isn't on social media, and we do have a group of loyal Five on the Floor podcast listeners that are not on Twitter and do not know all the insides, like jokes and all the stuff that goes on that ridiculous app or on Discord. But you tweeted something tonight that I think we should reference. Do you have that tweet ready?
Which one?
The one about your daughter and tonight's game and the comparisons.
I figured it was that one, but I wanted to make sure. Yeah. I tweeted, my daughter has screened for the past 2 hours, and somehow it's less painful than watching the Heat at times. And it's so true. I can deal with that more than I just get so mad watching this team because it makes no sense. Like they just literally forget how to play basketball. And I think that's the frustrating part. It's like, one, they're not good right now. That it is what it is. Sometimes you're not going to be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And though I think on paper they should be better than they are,
Agreed.
and I think this is the biggest insult you can give to a team. And I'm about to say it, and I hate saying it. I think it's mental. And that's the biggest insult, in my opinion, you can give to an athlete or a team. It's one thing to just be not good enough, but if it's your mind holding you back, that's a whole nother ball game. It's got to be that or something right now, because we were talking about before we got on. Ethan sent a thing or that they're playing worse than they did before Jimmy Butler was traded and Jimmy Butler wasn't playing. And they traded for some good players, so the team got better. Since Jimmy Butler wasn't playing then,
exactly,
they got better. And they somehow are doing worse, even with Bam playing at, like, in all honesty, an all NBA level. Yeah, he airballed, which is embarrassing because it's wide open, but he did hit the three right before that. And
he did.
So
he did.
Airball.
I more pointed that out because people are always saying that I apologize for. I'm
Yeah.
the apologist, so I was trying to be objective there. But to your point, they wouldn't have even been in this game without Bam. But continue.
Yeah, no, and it's like that's not the one play doesn't lose it. Highsmith missed a wide open layup. Bam missed free throws. Tyler missed free throws. Bam missed a tip where no one was close to him. Like it wasn't just one play. But yeah, it is so infuriating that, like, I think for me, guys like me, you, other people that show up to every game no matter what, right? It's just like, they should be better, and that's what pisses you off so much.
Yeah, and you saw the frustration on Eric Spoelstra's face when late in that game they advanced the ball ahead, I think it was, and Mark Williams got a quick dunk there, like on a transition type possession where they just didn't get back fast enough, and Spoelstra had to call a timeout. I think this is how it went down. It's all a blur. It was just a mess. And Spo just looked flabbergasted. He looked like he was incensed, but also a little bit dumbfounded, like in terms of like, what do you say to the guys? Like, this is just a reoccurring theme. And I don't know how you like, this is what I said earlier in the show. And you're leaning into it too, when you talk about the mental makeup of a group, how you flip that script here. You've got the Clippers, and then you've got Boston, and then you go to Memphis, New York, and then play Detroit and Houston at home. So you don't have any easy games coming up really until you play Charlotte again, who just beat you on March the 23rd. And then guess what you got? Golden State coming to town. So all of this leads up to a schedule that the Heat are going to have to play way above their heads to climb out of this. They are firmly in the play-in. There's no scenario where they're not going to be in one of these play-in spots. And really at this point, they're going to need to, Chicago's still 3 games back from them as we're recording this. So Miami still has to drop quite a bit to get all the way to 10 instead of 9 and never play a home game. They do have the chance to play a home game in the play-in here, but we just saw Chicago come onto their home floor and win. So there's just no easy answers to it. It's a total mess. Let's get to the last segment before we close up shop tonight on what is another embarrassing loss at home to the Charlotte Hornets.
And now it's time for our Defending the House segment, sponsored by our friends over at The Real Estate Shop. You can find them at realestateshopfl.com. That's with 2 P's and an E, realestateshopfl.com, or at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram. This is Javier Iglesias and Amanda Martin. They help buyers and sellers in real estate. They're nimble and protective of their clients. They service the entire Tri-County area. That's Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties with a proven on-market strategy. The Real Estate Shop sellers earn the most money in the shortest time frame because Amanda and Javier have a deep understanding of the local market. So check them out. Again, it's at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram, realestateshopfl.com, or give them a call at 954-268-9812. And now, who defended the house?
I can tell you Charlotte does not defend the house. The Heat had an offensive rating of 128.9. Charlotte finished with a 113. Charlotte was not even trying on defense. And that just made this all even worse when the game got close and there were points where you felt like you could break this open and keep it wide open. And they let them hang around. And I don't really have anything to say about them on defense other than like the late game stuff is just where I don't understand what they're doing. There were moments early in the fourth where they went to the zone that I don't love, but again, this transcends X's and O's, and we're going to keep harping on it as we close here. I don't know what they're going to do. There's no lineup change that really makes a ton of difference at this point. They're going to have to basically, by self-propulsion, drag themselves out of this, and they're probably going to need to get lucky along the way and get a game that they're not supposed to get, whether that's against like it sounds crazy to say out loud, but like Boston or even the Clippers game would be nice. But it's difficult to see it happening, and you're careening toward a situation where the Heat are, and some people are quite happy about this. The Heat are in a position right now where if the season ended today, they'd have around the 11th pick. And again, you could hop up in the draft lottery, but they'd have around the 11th pick, and then with Golden State's pick, the 20th pick. So that's 2 lottery picks, and it's just as every game goes by, it seems more like that's the path we're heading down than any kind of interesting playoff run. Major, your final thoughts ahead of the Clippers on Wednesday. Yikes.
Yeah, first for defending the house, Alex put a funny tweet out here that I think is hilarious. Would you believe me if I told you the Heat had a 70 defensive rating with Terry on the floor and 131 when he was off the floor? So Terry Rozier defended the house.
That's a great stat.
That checks that segment, but I don't know what to say, man. Like, I have no hope in this. And I want to be like, it would be the funniest Miami Heat thing, them to go on a run, like right here. They somehow win like 5 in a row against this schedule. That would be like typical. I would have said that that's possible the last 4 or 5 years.
You would have too.
I would
have dug your heels in
because they earned that right. In my opinion, this is a different team now, and I have no faith in them that, we talked even 2 games ago. I think it probably was right before the show where I said, there's no way they lose both play-in games. Like they'll just find a way. Now I'm like, well, they're in the 9 and 10 game. They play Chicago.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey might get another triple double and they might not win that one. It doesn't matter if it's at home. You just don't know what to expect from this team other than the only thing to expect is at some point they're going to play terrible and going to blow a big lead that they worked hard for. And then they're going to find a way to make it close at the end. That's the only thing. You don't know if they're going to play good. You don't know if they're going to play bad. Doesn't matter who they're playing. Every game is the same. And that's like, that's also frustrating because they play good teams close just as much as they play bad teams close. And so they have it in them to beat the bad teams pretty easily, and they just don't. So that's why I'm leaning towards more and more. It's got to be some weird mental thing. I don't know. It's been a tough season on and off the court for a lot of the guys, I would say. And maybe that's just catching up to them. It's been a long several years of this stuff too. And so maybe it's time not to punt the season, because I will never root for losses, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's not about, they're not punting these games. They're just legitimately losing them, and they'll continue to play, and they'll play hard. But are they going to win very many? We'll see, because now this is the league high 9th game lost by the Miami Heat when leading by 15 plus points this year. I don't know what else to say. We're going to see the way that the season goes. But this is, a loss to Charlotte like this. There's no way to sugarcoat it. But we appreciate you listening. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Major. We will have you covered for Heat Clippers. We'll have you with an off day show as well. Have a good night.